What's up guys, it's Danta and well, today I'm going to show you how to complete your Destruction Warlock Mage Tower challenge in a pretty easy way as well. Before we are going to talk about the fight itself, let's just talk about the gear and the talents first. Alright, so this is the gear that I'm using. Now, it's just Shadowlands gear, so it's nothing special, except for one item, and this item is called the Ravaged Seedpot. Now, usually I wouldn't, start farming gear to do this mage tower. However, this video is just to show you guys how to get this challenge done in the easiest way as possible without, farming a lot. So I'm not going to farm Mist of Pandaria gear and stuff like that and tell you to do that. No, all you need is this Ravaged Seedpot and any other gear that you have. So this trinket drops from the first boss in Emerald Nightmare, which is called Narfendra, and you can basically do this on LFR, normal, heroic and mythic. Now the reason that I want you to get this trinket is because this trinket gives you a lot of AoE damage and it also gives you leech, so it will keep you alive. Now one of the things that I've noticed during this fight is that sometimes you won't have enough shards left to zerk down these worms, and basically that's where this trinket comes in. This trinket deals a lot of AoE damage, so it clears these worms very fast and it heals you up as well. So it's a great trinket, and it's probably a trinket that you want to have on a lot of alts as well, because it can help in a lot of challenges. Alright guys, so this is the build that I went with. Now, even though I'm using these talents, you don't have to. You can just choose whatever you like. But this is the build that helped me out the most, which made this fight just a lot easier. Now, there's only one talent that I would say you should pick, and that's Mortal Coil. So in this fight, you have to CC the boss a lot. And, well, Mortal Coil is great for that. Mortal Coil fears the boss, and it also heals you up. So that's just the best talent that you can pick of the entire row there. Now, besides that, I would go with Shadowburn over Reverse Entropy, because Shadowburn allows you to generate more shards whenever you are sniping down these worms. Demon Skin, probably also necessary, because Demon Skin gives you a shield every time you deal damage, so I would go with Demon Skin as well. Cataclysm is nice, but some people go for Inferno. I like Cataclysm a lot more because it immediately applies your dot on the worms whenever they spawn, and it also deals a pretty good amount of damage. Now, as for the last row, I went with Dark Soul instead of Soul Conduit, because Dark Soul just gives you that burst damage that you want. Even though I'm using this build, you can choose whatever you like, except for Mortal Coil. Mortal Coil is pretty much necessary. So that's it for my talents. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how I did this fight while talking about it, right? So basically the way this fight works is that you have to deal with a Tauren and you have to deal with a worm. Now, most people say that this challenge is probably the easiest out of all the challenges that there are. I'm just going to tell you guys how to deal with this fight, how to deal with the mechanics, and how to make things maybe a little bit easier. Now, the Tauren has a couple of abilities. His most deadly ability is Fel Burst. So what you have to do is you have to interrupt Fel Burst. Now, that's not hard as a Warlock, because you have a lot of CC. One of the things that will make it a lot easier to deal with is having a macro for your Curse of Tongues, I think it's called. But basically what that curse does is it will make his cast time longer, so it will give you more time to cast a Fear on him. I made a couple of macros, I'll put them in the description below, so you guys can use it. They are nothing special, like everyone can make them, but I just hope that it makes this fight a little bit easier for you guys. Now, whenever he's going to cast Fel Burst, make sure you interrupt it, no matter what. You have an Inferno if it's really needed, you have your Dark Fury, you have everything that you need. But most of the time you will just be casting Fear. So that's Fel Burst. Now, the other ability that he has is called Earthquake. Just avoid all the garbage that he's dropping and you'll easily deal with it. That's actually his Earthquake ability. Another thing that's happening during this fight is that there will be these ads spawning. I'm not sure if he's spawning these ads or the worm, but the ads are also spawning. So what's going to happen is that there will be these eggs dropping on the ground. Basically what you have to do is just zerk them down. Now here's where the trinket comes in handy, because whenever I was doing this tower without this trinket, I had a couple of times that I did not have enough shards. And basically a Warlock relies on shards to use its Rain of Fire, or its chaos bolts. So whenever you don't have enough shards, you just use your trinket and it drops down a giant puddle of shit. Basically what's going to happen is that these adds are just melting away because of that trinket, plus it gives you leech, so you will be able to heal up a lot. That's why I said that having this trinket will make this fight a lot better. Now I also tried this without the trinket, but once again, sometimes you don't have enough shards to spend any AoE abilities, so it can get kinda frustrating because you're just walking around trying to get shards, but meanwhile you're having to deal with the worm, having to deal with the torrent, and all these adds are just getting more and more and more. So yeah, I would say try to get the trinket. It's in the Emerald Nightmare, it's the first boss, and you have 4 attempts for it. So that's basically it for the adds. Now don't worry if these eggs hatch, they don't do a lot of damage, but whenever you have too many of those up, they can hurt, so just keep that in mind. So another thing that will happen during this fight is that there will be this totem spawning. I'm not sure if the Torrent is doing that as well, or that it's just part of this fight, that it drops down from the sky random in this cave. I'm not sure. I made a macro for that as well. It's just a drain life macro, so whenever you press that, it will target the totem and it will immediately start casting drain life to just completely destroy that totem, because it has like 100 HP or something like that. So yeah, that's actually all there is to the torrent, I think. Like I said before, I'm not sure if the totem and the adds are something that the torrent does, but that's actually all there is to it. So just make sure you keep interrupting the guy, make sure you keep using your curse on him, because that will just make CCing him so much better and so much easier. Next up we have the worm. So the worm is, well, he's not that special, but there are a couple of things that you gotta do. So first of all, whenever you start this fight, the worm will have 9 stacks of a damage reduction from you, and basically what that means is that he takes 90% damage less from you. So the way you're going to get rid of that is by having him charge through these rocks that you see dropping on the ground, and every time he hits a rock, one of these stacks drop. Eventually, whenever he has around 3 stacks left, you can just start cleaving him and the torrent. So another ability that the worm has is Sonic Screech, or Sonic Scream, I mean. What you have to do for that is you can either just let him cast that, or you can just use Fear on him to just cancel that ability completely, so you have less damage income on you. But I also made a macro for that, so whenever you press that button, it will immediately just Fear the worm without you having to target it. It's in the description below as well. Now those are actually the abilities that the worm has, so there are not a lot. But there is just one more thing that I actually have to mention in this video. And that's that you don't want to have the worm be at like 60 or 70% HP whenever you kill the torrent. Because whenever one of these bosses die, the other one gets a major damage increase. So the best thing to do in this fight is just to cleave both bosses down, have the worm around 50% HP. That should be fine, because whenever the torrent dies, the worm will use its Sonic Scream with 400% increased damage or something like that, so you gotta keep interrupting that. Now, if you're getting low HP, you have your health stone, you also have your drain life, so you can't actually die whenever the worm is just left alone. So yeah, that's actually all there is to this fight. Now, first of all, congratulations with the, well, probably the best looking transmog set in the entire game. If you made it. If you didn't, just don't give up, just keep going for this transmog set because it looks amazing. So if you guys liked this video, if it was helpful at all, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and well, if you didn't like it, you know what to do. Now all I can say is have a good day guys, and I'll see you in the next video.